Off the top at 6 now, we begin tonight with the latest on potential Tropical Cyclone 6. The system is turning near Puerto Rico and expected to form into Tropical Storm Fred. South Florida remains in the cone of concern tonight for this weekend.
The next 24 hours is critical for the forecast, so we begin with Chief Certified Meteorologist Betty Davis.
Hi, everyone. It is still forecast to become a tropical storm, and here's what we have as of that 5 o'clock advisory. Winds of 35 miles per hour, moving west-northwest at 17 miles per hour. So we're tracking it right here, right about the east-northeastern Caribbean. You can see it lashing some of the islands, Puerto Rico included, and on track to move toward Dominican Republic tomorrow. And notice the intensity forecast does show it approaching Hispaniola as a tropical storm. Interaction with land, that could weaken it. So then the intensity forecast, as it's coming off the other side of Hispaniola, shows it as a tropical depression. But should it hang out over water just off that north coast of Cuba, it approaches South Florida as a tropical storm. Right now, it's shown as a low-end tropical storm. Either way, there is some uncertainty still, and we'll have to keep an eye on this, eventually heading up toward the eastern Gulf of Mexico based on the current forecast track from the National Hurricane Center. I do want to show you where the tropical storm warnings and watches are. Warnings around Puerto Rico up toward DR, and then notice where the watches are for a portion of that north coast of DR, extending over toward a portion of Haiti, Turks and Caicos tropical storm watch, as well as parts of the southeast Bahamas. And with that, let's bring in our hurricane specialist, Brian Norcross. Brian, it's one thing to look at it on the infrared satellite imagery and another on the radar.
Exactly, Betty. When you look at the radar, it actually looks very well developed until you look very, very closely. National Hurricane Center has analyzed this radar display, and what they're seeing is multiple swirls there, so it's not one unified kind of donut. And in fact, you can kind of make one out right in there. You see it's kind of turning right there, where what a well-developed system would do is you'd have a major circulation around the low pressure center where that L there, that's the 5 o'clock advisory position. Now, hurricane hunters are going to go out there this evening, and then we'll really get an analysis of how it has developed. But indeed, looking at the radar picture, it actually looks pretty well developed. But what it's doing right now is it's fighting off dry air. You see where this end is very ragged here. The orange is very dry air in the atmosphere, and some of that dry air has wrapped around, coming all the way up in here, and you can see that kind of dry area off to the west. It's wrapping in. That's giving the system a hard time developing thunderstorms is what it has to do to get itself organized. So all that's very good news. If that just continues, that would be absolutely great. But in any case, looking close up at the cone that Betty showed you there, the main point is whether it becomes a low-end tropical storm Fred or even a 45 or 50 mile an hour storm here in the overnight hours before it gets to the Dominican Republic. The main point is that there are these huge 10,000-foot mountains here, and the forecast is for it to essentially jam right into them. Now, there's a long history of tropical systems being ripped apart by that. So is that going to happen? That's what we're going to wait and see, and then we'll see what we have to deal with on Thursday morning. So we're really not going to know what we've got here until we get to Thursday morning. And so what they're speculating here is, okay, maybe it's enough to regenerate some under fairly hostile upper level winds, and then when it gets up into the Gulf, some possibility of the conditions becoming more conducive for strengthening. That all remains to be seen because it depends on what happens tomorrow. Bottom line is, here comes the moisture. It goes over the mountains tomorrow. Whatever is left of it, the moisture is coming. The question is, are the winds coming too? We're not going to know that. We might know something by this time tomorrow. It might be Thursday morning. All right, Calvin, Nicole, back to you.
Critical day tomorrow. Thanks a lot there, Brian.